Everyone knows Kobe Bryant, the player. Number 24. The Black Mamba, the silent assassin who struck fear in defenders and made the impossible look routine. We've all seen the highlights, the fadeaways, the dunks, the buzzer beaters. But that's only half the story. What if I told you there was another Kobe? The one cameras didn't always catch. The one who battled not just opponents, but his own demons. The one who was doubted, rejected, even hated. This is the Kobe who fell short, who faced scandals, who lost fans, and still rose from it all with unmatched focus and resilience. This is not the legend you see in posters. This is the man behind the myth. The relentless soul who fought to rebuild himself again and again. Today, you're not just going to hear about championships or 81-point games. You're going to discover the truth about Kobe, a truth that most fans have never heard, and few have had the courage to tell. Kobe Bryant is one of the most respected names in NBA history. To some, he's the closest we ever got to Michael Jordan. To others, he's the embodiment of obsession, focus, and greatness. 5-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 18 All-Star selections, and that unforgettable final game, 60 points at age 37. A performance so poetic, it felt scripted by the basketball gods themselves. But Kobe was more than a list of accolades. Behind the jerseys, the trophies, and the roaring crowds was a man in constant transformation. Who was he really? What did he sacrifice to become the Black Mamba? And why did his story resonate with millions far beyond basketball? This is a journey into the other side of Kobe. Not just the polished icon, but the man who broke, bled, failed, and rose again. The man who made mistakes in the spotlight and still dared to grow under its harshest glare. The father, the mentor, the obsessive competitor, the visionary. You've seen the highlights. But this time, you'll hear the whispers, the stories behind the scenes, that reveal who Kobe Bryant truly was. Because to understand his greatness, you need to understand his struggle. Kobe Bryant didn't just arrive in the NBA. He invaded it. At just 17 years old, fresh out of Lower Merion High School, he stepped into the most elite basketball league on earth, with the confidence of a man who believed it was already his to conquer. He was different, fluent in Italian and Spanish, raised partly in Europe, well-spoken, intelligent, obsessed with greatness. But brilliance often walks hand in hand with isolation. From the beginning, Kobe's mindset clashed with the NBA culture. While most rookies were content to observe and learn, Kobe was already chasing Jordan's ghost. He didn't come to fit in. He came to dominate. And that rubbed people the wrong way. Veteran teammates saw him as arrogant, someone who hadn't earned his stripes trying to act like a superstar. In practice, he played every possession like it was Game 7 of the finals. He'd challenge veterans, trash-talk legends, refuse to defer. To Kobe, every moment was war. But behind that fire was loneliness. In locker rooms, he often sat alone. He studied film when others went out. He trained when others partied. He was surrounded by millions, but understood by few. He once said, "I was alone a lot, but I was okay with that." Greatness is often lonely. This period, the early years of rejection and silence, would become the crucible that forged the Mamba mentality. It was in the shadows of isolation that Kobe sharpened his edge. Not to be liked, not to fit in, but to become unforgettable. It was May 12, 1997, Western Conference semifinals. The bright lights of Salt Lake City illuminated one of the most painful moments in Kobe Bryant's early career. The game went into overtime. The Los Angeles Lakers needed a hero. And 18-year-old Kobe, the youngest player on the court, called for the ball. Again and again. and again. And what followed was heartbreak. 4 straight air balls. Not missed shots. Not off-balance prayers. Air balls. He didn't just miss. He missed badly. In front of millions watching, the prodigy fell short. Literally and figuratively. The crowd roared. The Jazz bench smiled. And the headlines the next day weren't kind. Overhyped. Not ready. Who does he think he is? Even some Lakers fans began to question if this kid, who had arrived with so much confidence, was all talk. But Kobe? He didn't run from the failure. He ran toward it. After the game, while the rest of the team flew back to LA, Kobe went straight to the gym. No cameras. No trainers. Just him. A ball. And pain. He studied every miss. Asked himself why his legs were weak. Why his shot was flat. He realized his body wasn't ready. So, he made a vow. That will never happen again. I will make sure my body, my mind, my game is unbreakable. That summer, while most players rested, Kobe obsessed. He lifted. He ran. He shot until sunrise. A teenager with a veteran's shame and a future legend's hunger. It was in that failure, those 4 missed shots, that the Mamba mentality was born. Because Kobe didn't just want to be great when it was easy. He wanted to be great when it hurt. He wanted to rise, not just from triumph, but from humiliation. And years later, when asked about that night, Kobe didn't flinch. He smiled and said, "That was the best thing that could have happened to me." Because failure didn't break him. It built him. This is the part of Kobe Bryant's story that many skip over. The chapter that doesn't fit into highlight reels. The one that challenges the myth and confronts the man. In 2003, Kobe was 24 years old, a global icon, already a 3-time NBA champion, married, a new father, on top of the world, until it all came crashing down. While staying at a Colorado resort for knee surgery, Kobe met a 19-year-old hotel employee. What happened that night became the center of one of the most high-profile cases in sports history. She accused him of sexual assault. Kobe was arrested. Mugshot everywhere. A media storm exploded overnight. Kobe denied the charge, admitted they had sex, but insisted it was consensual. Still, the damage was done. Nike and McDonald's pulled back. Reporters camped outside his home. Critics called him arrogant, entitled. Supporters didn't know what to say. The NBA's golden boy had a dark cloud over his head. In court, the case grew more complicated. The accuser eventually refused to testify. The criminal case was dropped. A civil settlement was reached. No conviction, but also no vindication. The Kobe that walked out of that courtroom was not the same man who had walked in. He held press conferences, barely holding back tears. He apologized publicly, not for the crime, but for the pain he'd caused his wife and family. "I'm innocent of the charge, but I now understand how she feels. I'm sorry." Vanessa Bryant stood by him, visibly hurt but present. And when Kobe gifted her a $4 million ring, the tabloids had a field day. Some said it was love. Others said damage control. But inside that home, and inside Kobe himself, something was breaking and rebuilding. This was his lowest point. Not on the court, but as a man. His character, his legacy, his marriage, all on the brink. He could have disappeared, played the villain, or simply kept going without addressing it. But he chose a harder path. He leaned into fatherhood. He worked on his marriage. He studied leadership, storytelling, psychology. He started writing, reading obsessively, opening up emotionally in interviews like never before. He began to transform, not into the Kobe of before, but into someone more grounded, more aware, more intentional. This moment didn't define him, but it changed him. And for many, it was the beginning of Kobe's evolution from a brilliant athlete to a flawed but deeply human icon. Because the truth is, the Mamba wasn't born from just greatness. He was forged in shame, pressure, and redemption, and he carried that weight silently for the rest of his life. They were the most dominant duo in basketball. Shaquille O'Neal, a force of nature. The Diesel, a 7-foot, 300-pound giant who controlled the paint like no one else. And Kobe Bryant, the razor-sharp assassin, young, obsessive, relentless, a kid who wanted greatness now, and on his terms. At first, it was a dream. Shaq brought the muscle, Kobe brought the fire. Together, they were unstoppable. From 2000 to 2002, the Lakers won 3 straight championships. They steamrolled the league, made other teams look like amateurs. But inside the locker room, things were breaking. Kobe didn't just want to win. He wanted to lead. He didn't want to be the Robin to Shaq's Batman. He believed he was the future, and Shaq was holding him back. Shaq, meanwhile, saw Kobe as selfish, too serious, too cold, a kid who didn't respect the hierarchy, who didn't know his place. The tension boiled over. They clashed in practice. Shaq would call him out. Kobe would shoot over him and walk away. They clashed in interviews. Kobe would criticize Shaq's work ethic. Shaq would mock Kobe's need to prove himself. They clashed behind the scenes. Silent treatment, sarcasm, passive-aggressive comments on national TV. Phil Jackson called it the biggest feud I've ever coached. And it wasn't just personal. It was philosophical. Shaq was dominance. Kobe was discipline. Shaq wanted to laugh, dance, win on talent. Kobe wanted to grind, sacrifice, bleed for greatness. And while their differences fueled their success, it also doomed their dynasty. By 2004, the Lakers reached the finals again. But something was off. The magic was gone. They lost to the Pistons, and the team broke apart. Shaq was traded to Miami. Phil Jackson left. Kobe stayed. And for years, the narrative was clear. Kobe pushed Shaq out. Fans took sides. The media ran wild. Kobe was painted as difficult, egotistical. Shaq was the lovable giant who was wronged. But time reveals truths. Years later, both men looked back and owned their roles. Shaq admitted, "Without Kobe, I wouldn't have won as much. He pushed me." Kobe, too, grew up. He matured. He admitted he was young, stubborn, too hungry to wait his turn. And when Shaq's son Sharif went to college, it was Kobe who texted him words of encouragement. When Kobe won his 5th title, Shaq tweeted, "Congratulations, Kobe. You deserved it." And when Kobe died, Shaq cried on national television. Their feud was real, but so was the respect. What started as a war ended as a bond forged in fire. Because legends don't always get along, but they always push each other toward greatness. And for Kobe and Shaq, that tension created a legacy that will echo forever. Kobe Bryant wasn't just a great basketball player. He was a machine, a craftsman, a relentless perfectionist consumed by a single idea: be better, every single day. Most NBA players train hard. Kobe trained harder. While others were sleeping, he was sweating. While others were partying, he was studying tape, frame by frame. Teammates said he would show up at 4 a.m. to practice. Not to shoot, to run, to stretch, to study angles of his footwork. Repetition, precision, discipline. They laughed at first, then watched in awe. Even in the Olympics, surrounded by the best players in the world, LeBron, D-Wade, Melo, Kobe was the first in the gym. One morning, Team USA strength coach Tim Grover got a call at 3:30 a.m. It was Kobe. "Hey, can you help me get some shots up?" They trained for hours. Grover assumed he'd go back to sleep. No, Kobe stayed and trained again with the team at 9 a.m. Why? Because good wasn't enough. He wanted to be unforgettable. He studied legends like a scientist. He mimicked Jordan's moves, then added layers of his own. Footwork like Hakeem, fadeaways like MJ, mid-range like Bird. But he wasn't copying. He was absorbing, transforming. Each move had a reason. Each step was engineered. Kobe also studied fighters, boxers, samurai, warriors, obsessed with mindset, obsessed with mental dominance. He called it the Mamba Mentality, the constant quest to be better than you were yesterday. It wasn't about beating others. It was about mastering yourself. Michael Jordan, famously tough to impress, once said, "Kobe is the only player who ever approached my work ethic." That wasn't a compliment. It was a recognition, an acknowledgement from the GOAT. But perfection came at a cost. Injuries piled up. Pain became normal. He played through broken fingers, torn ligaments, bone bruises. He didn't care. He never flinched. Because to Kobe, perfection wasn't a result. It was a process of obsession, discipline, sacrifice. Kobe didn't want to be good, didn't want to be famous, didn't even want to be liked. He wanted to be remembered, and through sheer will, he carved his name into basketball's Mount Rushmore. Not just as a player, but as the embodiment of what happens when talent meets obsession. When Kobe Bryant retired from basketball, many expected him to fade away. But Kobe had other plans. Retirement wasn't the end. It was a new beginning. No longer just the Black Mamba on the court. Kobe transformed into a storyteller, a creator, a mentor. He poured his passion into writing, crafting stories that captured his love for the game and the human spirit. His short film, Dear Basketball, was more than just a tribute. It was a heartfelt letter to the game that shaped his life. And in 2018, that film earned him an Oscar, proof that Kobe's talents extended far beyond the hardwood. But Kobe's greatest transformation was off the court, in the role he cherished most. Father. His daughter Gianna was his pride and joy. He called himself a girl dad, a title he wore with honor and fierce love. Together, they shared more than just a bond. They shared a dream. Kobe coached Gianna's basketball team, passing down the relentless work ethic and love for the game that defined his own career. He wasn't just teaching basketball skills. He was teaching life lessons. Kobe became a powerful advocate for women's basketball. His support for the WNBA was genuine and impactful. He used his platform to elevate the game, inspiring young girls everywhere to chase their dreams fearlessly. He built the Mamba Sports Academy, a place dedicated to developing future athletes, both physically and mentally, a place where Kobe's philosophy lived on, where the next generation could learn what it meant to have Mamba mentality in all areas of life. Beyond basketball, Kobe's transformation revealed a new dimension of his character, a man who understood that legacy wasn't just about championships or records. It was about impact, about inspiration, about giving back. In the end, Kobe Bryant became more than a legend of basketball. He became a symbol of growth, of reinvention, and of the power of passion to transform every chapter of life. On the morning of January 26, 2020, the world woke up to a nightmare no one was prepared for. A tragic helicopter crash in Calabasas, California, claimed the lives of Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 others. The news spread like wildfire, shocking fans, athletes, and millions around the globe. A sudden silence fell over the basketball world, a silence filled with grief, disbelief, and heartbreak. Kobe was more than a basketball superstar. He was a father, a mentor, a creator, and an icon who had inspired generations. And now, in an instant, he was gone. The world cried. Fans lit candles outside arenas. Tributes poured in from every corner of the planet. Athletes, celebrities, and ordinary people shared stories of how Kobe had touched their lives. He was remembered not just for his skill on the court, but for his unrelenting spirit, his dedication, and the way he always pushed people to be their best selves. But even in death, Kobe taught us something profound. Life is fragile. No matter how strong, how talented, how legendary, we are all vulnerable. Every moment is precious, and what truly lasts is the legacy we leave behind. Kobe's legacy isn't only the 5 NBA championships or the countless records. It's the Mamba mentality, the mindset of relentless pursuit of excellence, resilience in the face of failure, and passion for constant growth. It's the lessons he taught us about family, about passing the torch, and about living fully and fearlessly. Through his life, his triumphs, his failures, and even his tragic end, Kobe Bryant reminds us, your impact matters. Your story isn't finished until you decide it is. And the way you live, every day, every choice, builds the legacy that will outlive you. Kobe and Gianna's spirits continue to inspire millions, reminding us to cherish those we love, to chase our dreams with courage, and to leave this world better than we found it. Their story is a call to live with purpose, because legacy is eternal, and so is the Black Mamba. Kobe Bryant was far more than just a player. He was a symbol, a living embodiment of resilience, discipline, and the relentless pursuit of constant evolution. Throughout his life, Kobe showed us what it means to fall, to fail, and most importantly, to rise again. Yes, he made mistakes. He faced controversies and setbacks that could have ended his story. But he chose growth over defeat. He chose to learn, to transform, and to inspire. Kobe's impact transcended basketball. He left an indelible mark on sports, pushing the limits of human performance and mental toughness. He ventured into art and storytelling, winning an Oscar and inspiring countless creators. He redefined fatherhood, showing the world the power of love, mentorship, and legacy through his bond with his daughters. And beyond all of that, he touched the hearts of millions of people around the world who saw in him the courage to pursue their own dreams. This is the truth about Kobe Bryant, the man behind the myth, the hero behind the headlines. A truth that few dare to tell, because it is raw, complex, and deeply human. But it is a truth that must never be forgotten, because Kobe's story is not just about basketball or fame. It's about what it means to live fully, to fail bravely, and to leave a legacy that inspires beyond the game. And that, more than anything, is the spirit of the Black Mamba. An eternal reminder that greatness is born from struggle, and that our true power lies in how we choose to grow. So when you think of Kobe Bryant, don't just remember the player, remember the man, remember the journey, and remember the legacy that lives on in all of us. Now I want to hear from you. Which moment in Kobe's life touched you the most? Was it his relentless work ethic? His ability to overcome failure? His transformation into a loving father and mentor? Or the way he left a legacy that goes far beyond basketball? Share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about what makes a true legend and how Kobe inspired each of us in different ways. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button to show your support. Share this video with someone who loves basketball or a story of real human triumph. And subscribe to the channel to never miss another deep dive into the lives of the world's greatest legends. Because here, legends never die. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next video, where we keep exploring the stories that inspire and transform.